let's talk about compliments. Everyone loves them, right? I mean, as true fragrance lovers, we appreciate the art, the creativity that goes into making fragrances, and we just enjoy smelling good, right? But it also never hurts to get that compliment from someone. I mean, it's one thing to know that you smell good, but for someone to consciously go out of their way to compliment you on how good you smell, that's a whole nother level. So here are my top 10 most complimented fragrances of 2025 so far. And all of the fragrances on this list are heavily complimented, so you really can't go wrong with any of them. Our ranking is based more on how often I wear the fragrance, because if I wear it more often and still receive a lot of compliments, there's something to be said there, and also just my personal preference. So with that, let's jump right into it. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is doing well. My name is Ty, and here I primarily talk about fragrances, but we also sprinkle in some fashion and lifestyle content as well. So primary purpose is to help you show up as your best self consistently, day in and day out, by looking good, smelling good, and feeling good. Y'all know the vibes, man, so do me a favor. If you're interested in those type of videos or that type of content, subscribe below for weekly fragrance and fashion content, and make sure you hit the bell to stay notified anytime I post any new videos. Okay, I'm gonna get things started with an honorable mention, and it's none other than French Avenue's Liquid Brune. Haven't had this one in my collection long enough to, have it be a part of this list, but this one here, y'all, fire, straight heat. And I'm late to the game with this one, so I'm sure you are already familiar with it. This one's a clone of Parfums de Marly Altier. So you get that powdery, vanilla, sort of fresh, but warm and sweet. Literally, you can't mess with this DNA. This one is fire, and the price that you can pick this one up for just makes it even more of a no-brainer. So if you haven't checked this one out yet, very heavy on the compliments, smells amazing, and it's a great price. Just pick it up, y'all. Okay, let's jump into the actual list, y'all. Getting things kicked off at number 10, we have Valentino's Born in Roma Uomo Extra Dose. This one's a 2025 release, right? So I picked this one up as soon as it came out. What you get with this one is this fresh, spicy, but then you also get this ambery, kind of vanilla, warm sweetness in the dry down. Just works really well. And again, anytime you have that fresh, sort of sweet vibe going on with the fragrance, that's a winning combo. I feel like it's just very easy to wear, very likable, and one that people, tend to compliment. So definitely the case with this one here. And again, picked this one up as soon as it came out, and told this story before, but I bought the fragrance at Dillard's, sprayed it on me before I, left the store, and literally got 2 compliments before I got back to my car. One in the mall, then one when I got outside of the mall. And then on a separate occasion, I was actually wearing this one to go grocery shopping, and grocery stores are within walking distance. So I'm, walking towards, an intersection, getting ready to cross the street, but I had to wait for the light. And literally this couple came chasing me down. They were coming from behind me, tapped me on my shoulder and asked, what I was wearing, let me know how good it smelled. And the guy specifically made me, pull up exactly what I was wearing, right? He pulled out his phone, and I was able to kind of show this fragrance to him. So definitely a heavily complimented fragrance. And like I said, I think the fresh sweetness is something that really plays in its favor. But beyond that, another reason I think this one's complimented so well is because of the performance. So it's called Extra Dose, and it literally is that. This one is a powerhouse performer, beast mode on my skin. And again, coming in at number 9 is one of my all-time favorite designer fragrances of all time, none other than Mercedes-Benz Club Black. This one here, y'all, is just so easy to like and so easy to wear, right? So anytime it's less than like 65 degrees and I don't know what I want to wear, and I'm having kind of a chill, day, I don't know what the day might bring me, I just throw this one on. It's so warm, it's so comforting, really centered around that vanilla. You get some incense, so you get a slightly smoky vibe as well, but more than anything, it's that vanilla and that benzoin at work. So it's more of a sweet fragrance. And again, I think that's why it's so heavily complimented, knowing that vanilla is one of the most universally liked notes. You really can't go wrong with this one. So okay, y'all, coming in at number 8 on the list, we have another one that I picked up this year, so it's new for me in 2025, and it's none other than Afnan's Tarothi Bleu, which of course is a clone of Bulgari's Tigar. I've never smelled that one, but to me, this one is just fresh. It's inviting, but then it also has some sweetness and some warmth as it dries down. So you see in the trend here, y'all, again, that fresh sweet combo never misses. But this opens, you get that grapefruit kind of citrusy with that ginger. Then as it dries down, you get the amber and the woods, and just a very well done fragrance. And again, another one that is an absolute steal for the price. Can typically pick this one up for around 40 bucks, or oftentimes even less. really can't miss, y'all. You really can't miss. And when it comes to the compliments with this one, like I said, I wore this one a lot in the spring and summertime. Have recommended it on a lot of the lists that I've put out this year, but again, it's something about that freshness, like I said, especially in the opening, that ginger, that, citrus. It's just so clean and inviting, but it gets better almost as it dries down, like I said, because you get some of that warmth and sweetness. So gotten a lot of compliments from both, men and women on this one, but definitely smells very good, performs very well, and it's one that I think, again, for the price, absolute steal, y'all. Check it out. Coming in at number 7 is one of the better designer releases of the past few years, and it's none other than JPJ's Le Mans Elixir. And there was a period of time, y'all, earlier this year, right between maybe winter and spring. This was almost like my signature scent, especially for, nights out and when I was going on dates with my lady. I was grabbing this one all the time, and I was consistently getting compliments, not only from her, but from other women as well, anytime I went out. So this one here, you get this really nice, warm, sweet fragrance. So you get vanilla in here, you get some honey in here, you also get tonka bean in here. So definitely on the sweeter side, but to me, a good sweetness. And like I said, something about that honey, and I think there's tobacco as well. You don't get much of actual tobacco, but I think the presence of tobacco maybe just keeps this one from going too like sickly sweet, at least in my opinion. So that mixture of, kind of the vanilla with the honey, that gives a, added dimension. The tonka bean, it's kind of powdery and almost chocolatey. And so fellas, if you're looking for a new date night fragrance that's going to bring you compliments, it's going to have you smelling seductive, it's going to have you smelling edible, check this one out. JPJ's Le Mans Elixir. Okay, y'all, we're about halfway through. Coming in at number 6 is one of my favorite, but also what I think is one of the best cheap fragrances, and it's none other than Lattafa's Honor and Glory. I don't know how many times I've talked about this one on my channel, y'all, but if you see me talk about it or haven't seen me talk about it yet, and I'm talking about it now for the first time for you, just pick this one up. It's an absolutely amazing fragrance for this price point, y'all. You get pineapple, you get vanilla. Those are kind of the 2 stars of the show in my opinion, but you also get some cinnamon, so you get a light spice in the background. It just smells amazing, y'all. And again, it's that fresh, sweet, dynamic duo combo. Can't miss with it. Easily one of the best cheap fragrances that I've ever purchased, and one of the best smelling fragrances, regardless of price, that I've ever purchased. Okay, moving into the top 5, y'all. Number 5, we have Byredo's Ball to Freak. Man, oh man, this one here, y'all. One of the best fragrances I've ever put my nose on, and especially because it's a fresh, and even more than that, it's a citrus fragrance. As you know, I have a love-hate relationship with citrus fragrances. They oftentimes come off too sharp, or even come off as smelling like a household cleaner to me. So it's definitely a hit or miss. Most times with citrus fragrances, for me, this one here, 100% hit. Just smells so good. It's citrusy, but it's on the kind of sweet and creamy side of the citrus. Then you have some really fresh florals and musk. Very simple, but just simple done right here, y'all. And a compliment that I got that I'll never forget, I was actually wearing this one at a coffee shop. I was getting some work done on a weekend while at this coffee shop, and a lady came up to me and said, "That is the best thing that I've ever smelled." And you know what? To an extent, I agree with her. Like I said, especially for a fresh fragrance, or for me, a citrus fragrance, absolutely one of the best that I've ever smelled. And I'd say if you've never put your nose on it, but you're looking for a new, fresh, clean, sort of soapy citrus fragrance that is just better than the rest, simply put, I consider checking this one out if I was you. Okay, y'all, coming in at number 4, we have the Harmonist Sun Force. And this is honestly one of my favorite niche fragrances of all time, easily. With a name like Sun Force, in a bottle like this, you'd think probably, a summer fragrance, which, to be fair, definitely good in the spring and summertime, but I think it has so much more depth than that, y'all. I think it can easily work year round. Extremely versatile, because you get, again, a fresh, slightly spicy, but warm and sweet fragrance. So you get some citruses and pomelo in the opening, then you get rose, you also get some cinnamon, I believe you also get cardamom, and even saffron in this one. And then you get this really nice honey benzoin in the dry down. So again, really takes you on a journey when you spray it on, but just comes together so nicely. And one thing I'll say about this fragrance is it just smells so natural, right? Oftentimes, with, fresh sort of sweet fragrances that, fit in that category can be on the synthetic side, which isn't a bad thing, right? Still smells good, but For me, this one just really comes off as being so natural, especially with the sweetness in it. So I really, really enjoy this one. I think it's a great pickup for anyone that's looking for an extremely versatile niche fragrance that's still, easily wearable, I'd say, and very likable. And always get compliments on this one, but what I remember most is I actually wore this to a wedding this past April, and I was literally the star of the show. I don't remember how many compliments I got, but from mostly women, a few men as well, but mostly women. They absolutely love this one, again, because it has that fresh sweet vibe, but also has some sensuality with not only the warmth, with that benzoin and kind of honey thing going on, but the rose as well, right? Rose is just a very sensual note, and I think this one does it very well. So if you're interested in a new, unique, but easily wearable niche fragrance, check out Sun Force. Okay, moving into the top 3, y'all. At number 3, we have one of the best cologne fragrances of all time, in my opinion, and that's none other than Joe Milano's Game of Spades Wild Card. This is fresh and sweet to the max, right? This is everything I've been talking about this whole video. This is it in a nutshell, right? So you get some florals. I believe you get jasmine in here that gives this freshness. You also get some apple, but then it dries down. You get some vanilla and amber. Beautiful, fresh, sweet fragrance. Great performance on this one here. This one just checks all the boxes, and again, can find it for a very good price as well. So if you're someone that's interested in Bond Number 9's Lafayette Street, or you just need a new kind of fresh, sweet fragrance that can literally take you from, work to a date night and everything in between, check this one out. And when talking about compliments, I actually had a situation just like that, where I wore this one on a day that I transitioned from work, and I had to go run some errands after that. They met my lady for a happy hour that was later on in that evening, and I literally got compliments at every stage of that day. So from work to running errands to when I got to dinner, with my lady, compliments at each, and for good reason. Like I said, this is a very likable fragrance, one that just works well no matter what you have going on. And again, the price, absolute steal. Check it out if you haven't already, y'all. Joe Milano's Game of Spades Wild Card. Okay, y'all, coming in at number 2 is a fragrance that I would say is one of the best designer fragrances of last year, if not the best designer fragrance. And it's none other than YSL's Myself Les Parfums. So this follows the EDP, but I think this one is so much better, y'all. The EDP was very fresh. I think this one's also fresh, centered around that orange blossom, but you get the addition of vanilla, bourbon vanilla specifically. You get some patchouli and woody notes as well as it dries down. So I think it just gives this one so much more range, so much more versatility. And again, that added sweetness, which I think definitely does what it needs to do here. So fresh, sweet, easy to wear, great performance. Can wear this one year round for any occasion, no matter what you have going on. I think from informal all the way up to formal, this one does the trick. And this is another fragrance, y'all. Literally every time I wear this, I feel like I get complimented, no matter what I have going on, no matter what I'm wearing, no matter what the situation is. If I spray this on and I'm around any amount of people, can pretty much guarantee a compliment. And it's just that good, y'all. I don't know how else to describe it. If you haven't checked it out, sample it, check it out, and you'll understand what I mean. None other than YSL's Myself Les Parfums. Okay, and last but not least, number 1, my most complimented fragrance of 2025. Honestly, as long as I have this one in my collection, I feel like it's always going to be one of the most complimented. My first niche fragrance ever, none other than Parfums de Marly Layton. Got Layton here, y'all. I'm sure you know about this one by now, but if you don't, again, fresh, sweet, slightly spicy, warm in the dry down. So you get vanilla, you get some apple, you also get some cinnamon as well. I always describe this one as smelling like a fresh piece of apple pie over some nice, cool vanilla ice cream. To me, it's just like the combination of them both, right? Smells so good, very versatile, can wear it pretty much year round. For me, maybe with the exception of super, super high heat. Other than that, you're good to go with this one. And have gotten a ton of compliments. I've worn this one formally to, celebratory events, worn it out on date nights, everything in between. I've always gotten compliments. What makes this one stand out above the rest, again, ton of compliments, but it's who the compliments come from, right? It's one thing to get, the unsolicited compliments while you're out, people telling you smell nice. Okay. But this one has gotten compliments from people who don't necessarily even love fragrance or can be easily off-put by fragrance, or people are just harsh critics or don't typically notice fragrances, right? So, you know, my fiance, my mother, even my older brother, right, who rarely kind of notices different things with fragrances. I wore this one around him recently and he smelled it. He's just like, hey, I don't know what you got going on. I don't know what you sprayed on, but that smells good, right? So it's those sort of compliments, right, that are in addition to the kind of standard compliments that I've gotten while I was out wearing this one, that to me make me, feel like this is easily my most complimented and just probably my most liked fragrance across the board. So if you're someone that likes fresh, sweet, slightly spicy fragrances and you've never put your nose on Layton, think you're doing yourself a disservice. At least get a sample. Check it out. Parfums de Marly Layton. Do me a favor, leave me a comment below. Let me know what are some of your most complimented fragrances of 2025 so far.